send out the Clyde Winter. And on their name, put some respect. Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? Oh, what up, though? How you doing, Eve?
What's going on, Dr. Winters? Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
It's cold. It's cold in our hills. It's cold out here in Illinois.
Oh yeah, it's cold here too. I'm a warm-bodied person. I generally don't get cold. So when I'm cold, I know it's cold.
Oh wow.
I was cold yesterday, but today not so much, I guess, because I stayed in the house.
Well, hey, you were smart. That's what they said. People should stay in the house. Don't go out there and get in the cold. But
right. I mean, unless you have to, right? If you have to, then I'm sorry that's your life.
True, but the thing is, this is that we're still producing so much energy because people are just kind of zoomed out there. They're very upset, because this past weekend, we had a lot of important stuff dealing with the new president, and some of the people are just overwhelmed by this whole experience.
Very. Yes, I would agree. There is a boom of energy, and I don't know if people like the energy as much as they can feel it. And then because they can't really articulate all of these big feelings that they're having, they're coming across sounding disheveled or overwhelmed, like you said, maybe anxious or anxiety ridden. Right after the election, people were crashing out all over the place, and they got their phone and they're all, I don't normally do this, but I have to tell somebody. And then, they're having their moment of grief recorded for all of their followers and content. And I think that's cool if that's what you want to do, but I don't know if I believe that you're as sad as you say you are, but
I think that they don't know what to do because see, we wouldn't participate. See, European, although we like to imagine that Europeans are independent thinkers, no, they're not. They're not independent thinkers. They're always waiting to see what we're going to do so that they can counter it. And so then we've had this election. The orange man has been reelected, and these people are don't know what to do because FBA don't give a damn. We don't give a damn. We don't care who's in there now, and this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable, Eve. It's not acceptable.
Well, no, I mean, we're supposed to save everybody from themselves. We are the moral compass of the world, and I think that's great. We've learned that with Pride, but then, like you said, we don't care anymore, and maybe. Not that we don't care, but not my fight, not my dog or pony, so not my show. However you want to slice the apple, not my circus or not my clowns, not my circus, whatever it means that we've wiped our hands, that's what's happened. And then it was very funny and ironic for me to see all of these Black women TikTok crash outs saying that, make sure you stay home. We're not celebrating the inauguration because they stayed home for the election. So then we're going to stay home for the next 4 years and don't complain to us when things cost more and all this stuff. And then Michelle not going to the inauguration because, well, it's not our problem. And I'm like, well, it took y'all a little while to get here. We've been telling y'all to stay your asses home since the election. But
that's right. That's right. In fact, we were saying stay home and don't go out and vote, period.
Yeah, right. I mean, if this is what it took to get y'all to mind your business, then okay, I'm glad we're all here. Michelle is supposed to be a a foundational, a native Black, as much as I don't think I've ever heard her fight for us specifically ever. And then I guess there might be some rumors of some splits, and Obama might be seeing some woman that might resemble his mom a little bit more than his current situation. I don't know, but you got things.
It's the beauty. It's the beauty. That's why I'm on YouTube all day getting the hottest gossip. When you get old, you become a gossip, and the YouTube is full of this gossip. But what makes it very interesting is that a lot of energy is being exerted to try to explain what's going on with the situation with the Orange Man and the election of a new president. So let's say that energy represents physical, mental, spiritual, or any form of energy. L represents life, the existence of vitality of an organism or existence. Therefore, the formula E equals L. Yes, energy equals life. But what does this equate? What does this mean in relationship to the Orange Man? And this is something that is very, very apropos today. And the reason it's apropos is because the fact is that these people are going crazy. It seems as though they cannot understand what's going on, what's happened. Why did this man get put into office? And yet they forget is that I always felt during the last election, I felt they stole it, but I didn't really care. And the reason that I didn't care is because, nobody can tell me. Maybe you can help me, Eve. You're a modern person. You understand what's going on in the world.
That's right.
What president has done anything for FBA?
Exactly. Right. I mean, that's the $64 million question, because all of these melanated people in this country with these issues with the president because he's a racist. Oh my God, he's so bad. He's a racist. How could you vote for? I didn't vote for him. So you can't put that on me. But, I hear y'all. How could people vote for someone like him? And I think it's just more of understanding it's more of the same. So maybe we're not so worried about something that we've already experienced. But then again, is he as bad as he seems, or is he just the boogeyman that these people have agreed on? When people can agree on a boogeyman, that's like the movie Wicked, which I haven't seen, but I've heard lots about, and I wasn't going to see, and I might see it, but only for this one reason. And the reason being that it's very easy to make a bad guy, especially if you're the person especially if you're the bad guy. If you're the bad guy, then you can put the attention on somebody else and then act like the good guy. And I guess that's, some people have told me that's the whole synopsis, Elphaba, the green one, Cynthia Erivo is the Wicked Witch, but really she's not the bad guy, even though the Wicked Witch is always supposed to have been the bad guy, right, in the story. But then the white man, the man, not the white man, but just the man, he happens to be white. He's the one keeping her in as the bad guy. He made her the bad guy. He tells everybody to go chase after her because she's the bad guy. She looks different than everybody, blah, blah, blah. I say all this to say that Trump is the bad guy that everybody agreed on. And then from there, because it's easier to cast blame than to accept responsibility, well, this is why we're here. So has Trump done anything specific for Black people? No. But has he done anything specifically to hurt Black people? No. So I don't know.
You better get Camel out here. Those no's are emphatic.
I mean, we heard it so much. Are you going to do anything for them niggas? No. Do you care? No. And then the laugh. You got to laugh. You have to laugh. If you don't laugh, you don't mean it. So there's that.
But you
I'm
know,
sorry, y'all. My minis are all in various stages of wanting more food, so y'all gonna have to give me a minute. But I'm here. I just might sound a little far away from the computer.
well, take your time and feed the minis. But you know, our family, what's going on is that when we look at this man, when we look at the orange man, and we think about that he's equated today with among many people on in America as the incarnation of the devil. And this is something that is so so scary, but at the same time, it's something that we've always said. We've always said as FBA that the white man is the devil. We got this from Elijah Muhammad, and the thing is that now we have someone who can really, in a sense, represent that image. You know, I remember I once went to a Nation of Islam meeting, and he said they put on the board evil, and they said evil. The white man is evil. Then the brother erased the E. He said the white man is vile. Then he erased the V and he said the white man is ill. So the white man is evil, vile, and ill. But the point is this is that if he's evil, vile, and ill, there has to be some medicine that can help him, right?
You would think. I mean, medicine is supposed to help, but then are we talking like holistically? Are we talking manufactured, pharmaceutically? I don't know. I think Kamala and Joe were taking something these last 4 years, and I don't know if it helped. So maybe some medicine doesn't help, or maybe it does help because you have to numb the pain of doing things that don't make sense. I'm really not sure, but they say that you can fix people like this. That's why they send the bad cop to training. Or if a person has anger issues, they send you to anger management. That's supposed to be the medicine, right? But then I don't know.
But you know, during the pandemic, we had a lot of fun stuff. You know, before the pandemic, we had these conspiracy theories. Before the pandemic, we could easily explain everything that was going on. You know, we had a bunch of clones out there. Hillary was a clone. Obama was a clone. You know, and but now everybody wants to come back to being sane. Everybody wants to come back to trying to have a real view of the world. And in a way, I don't like this. I
Do
liked
you
it
think
better.
that? Oh, go ahead.
I liked it better when people had all these conspiracy theories. I liked it better when people, in a sense, they saw something behind every door. I liked it better when they saw something behind every little post. I don't like it in the sense that they feel that now everything is resolved. And as long as we get that man, as long as we get him, things will be okay.
True. It is giving fairy tale, right? It's almost sounding like, well, if you just work a little bit harder, then when you die, your riches is going to be bountiful. You're going to be so rich, you don't even know what to do with it. That's why you got to wait till you're dead, because you don't even know what to do with all these riches that are coming to you if you work so hard right now. For me to chill and don't worry about what I'm doing. Just know that your riches are going to come later. And I don't like things like that where it's trust me now, trust me, bro, I got you, without any tangible evidence to support it. Because, well, maybe just because we keep getting got like that, it's too much trust and not enough evidence. But I don't know.
Isn't that life? Isn't that life? You know, they say that we choose our parents.
I mean, if we do, and I'm not saying we don't, I just think that sometimes, especially with how people have mommy issues and daddy issues, damn, we chose to do this again. I mean, this is where we chose to do it. Could we have chosen better? Remember, you joined us. Not you joined us. I had Marie join us for one of our last shows, and she said that if she ever comes back, she is going to do it the same but different, still biracial, but instead of a white mom this time, a white dad. And then I guess, well, your black parent would have to be your mom at this point because, well, your black parent now is your dad. And I'm like, if we really are able to make these decisions, then I guess we're setting ourselves up, or maybe we think that we're going to be able to handle the level up the next time around, but then life be lifing, so we don't actually get to it. I don't know, but that's heavy when you say that because, well, some people's parents are shit. And I'm not trying to judge anybody, so I'm not saying anybody's specific parent is shit. I just know that people feel very strongly sometimes, and you can see it in how they interact with other people, right?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I know too much. Well, I believe I know too much about the world now, and I wish I didn't know so much. Because see, the thing is, this is that I know that anything can happen or anything could be existing. I remember. I know I've told you before that my wife, before she died, she said that we were in India, not in India, but we were in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and that she was my mistress. And so she had told me that, and I thought about that. Damn, I wish I was him because he's young and he's still. But anyway, I'm not that guy. I'm the old client, and so then since I'm the old client, I have to deal with it. But it's just the whole idea is that you don't really want to believe that your double ganger is out there. You don't want to believe that you're going to run into him or run into her, but then it could be the slight difference. And the thing is that when you think about this whole idea of energy equals life, and when you think about how do you make these things happen, and so then 4 years ago they was able to stop the orange man from coming in office, but the orange man is now in office, and at the same time he's in office, it's so many things that they want to do, or so many things that they want to happen, and so many things they want to occur, and I thought about the fact. That they tried to kill him 2 or 3 times.
Right.
They couldn't kill him. Shot at him and all that type of stuff. But see, a lot of people, they see him as God sent. I see him as somebody that's here to destroy. I don't see him as really building up America. I think I see him as a destroyer. Because I don't think in a sense that there's really any hope. Because the only hope for America to me is us. And we don't give a damn about America anymore.
Maybe that's the best thing we can do sometimes, or at least in my more recent past, like in the last 5 years that I've been gardening and, learning about plants and stuff. You don't want to leave it. Like sometimes you need to leave it alone. Maybe you've overwatered it or you've done too much. And the only recourse is to just leave it alone. And sometimes systems are already perfectly designed that it's our messing with it that kind of throws timelines off, and it might stunt things, or maybe things don't grow the way that they're supposed to because we've messed with it in some sort of way. There's a better word than messed with, but I don't think we don't care. I just think that maybe, I guess kind of like I started, we've got all these big emotions and feelings, and we don't really know how to articulate it in a way that we feel safe.
But like Ryden said, it's just that we need radical change, and that won't happen until whites are ready with us. But see, the whole point is this: what is this radical change? What do we need? What is the radical change that you expect to happen? Martin Luther King, when he got his civil rights, we were expecting things to change. And then what did they do? They got the Jamaicans to sell us some crack. And so we went through 20 years of amnesia, during the crack epidemic, And so then today in a sense, black people said, hey, we're not voting. And so then the orange man is back in. But what does that really mean? What does it really mean, Because see, all energy is life. Everything about your existence is life. What gives you vitality is life, because life is the living, right? But why do so many people act like they're dead?
Well, That's very, very interesting concept, because people, what, 20 years ago said, and then Dr. Frances Cress Welsing,
You got it. That's it.
she she was on the money, years before that, about just where society was going. So then if you look at how people have psychoanalyzed us, we've been the topic of all sorts of studies for years and years and years. And I guess it's only right, since we've been here for years and years and years. But off of that, and just on to when people are studying us, what makes us tick and how we move. We're an emotional people, and we move with how we feel. And then if at the end of the day, people keep showing us how they feel, and then we finally wake up and it's like, all right, fine, you don't like me. Fine. It's almost, well, in 2025 and last year, it seems like people take that as fighting words, when really it's more just like, fine, we're not going to try to force you to be with us. You don't want to be here? Fine. We're breaking up with you, and it's not amicable, but it is what's the word where both of us agree? It's undisputed. We're not disputing the fact that you for years have been saying that we don't like you, and then we're finally like, fine. But they're hearing the victim is now going to turn into the bully. And I'm like, how does it translate to that, unless y'all not speaking the same language as us? So I don't know.
See, that's because they're bullies. And because they're bullies, they feel that if you're going to flip the script, then you have to flip the script entirely. And you have to, in a sense, you have to show no restraint. You have to just let it all hang out. And so they feel that if the script is flipped, then therefore it's time that Black people begin to be the oppressors. That we begin, in a sense, to take it out on them, what they've done to us. And I think that it's that fear, but it's a fear that can never exist, because they've been waiting for the past going on 200 years for us to retaliate. They've been waiting for the past 200 years for us to really, lay it on thick, because the government and everybody knows, we're the only ones that think we're a minority. The government, yes, the government.
No, I agree with you. And it's almost nauseating to try to explain to Black America that they're not the minority. And it doesn't matter the math that you're using. I like an argument that you have, because you can't falsify it. It's very simple. They lied on the census. Right. From there, all of it is messed up. You can't, if at the beginning you're lying, then now are you telling the truth, or is it still lies? But they were so, I say they were because I don't think they're as good anymore, but they used to be really good with these lies, because we would just take it. Now the lies are like, wait a minute. Some people are highlighting that they're in the red globally. Some people are remembering that Joe Biden told Black America that they had to learn how to speak Spanish because of incoming Mexicans and stuff. And why would they say things like this if they weren't being honest about them being in the red? But then how are you in the red if the numbers were accurate? You can't have this rise in a population unless we're all agreeing to this one big thing. Y'all are offing yourselves and you don't want to tell anybody about it. And you're offing yourselves in the millions. Like, it's just so big that's why you got to highlight Chicago and the imaginary Black people killing the real Black people.
It's like what you're saying is that really white people, like the lemmings, they're running to the cliff and they're jumping into the water. They're going to drown themselves.
Yes.
But it's a little bit more complicated, because the thing is that we voluntarily decide that we would accept minority status, because, hey, go along to get along. And the thing is that as long as you don't push me too far, we'll be okay. And then if you push me too far, then we'll blow up. But then what the white man said, okay, if we push you too far, we'll just sneak into your neighborhood. We'll go grab a brother when nobody looking, in, kill him and throw him in the lake. Mm-hmm. And because the fact, in a sense, that as a people, you only want to kick each other's ass, then therefore, in a sense, we'll be safe. You see, just imagine. And this is something that I've been studying, and I've been looking at this over the past 500 years, And when I look at the history of Black people in Europe, then you say, how did all these Black people turn white? And then in a sense, but what you see is that these Black people were always fighting among each other, and they brought in all these people from the Caucasus, these mercenaries, and then they let them get on top of them. That's why the European, he always makes sure he's not going to make that mistake with us. He's not going to let us feel that way, but he doesn't understand is that a lot of us don't really want to know. A lot of us don't really want to feel that we're the majority, because if you feel you're the majority family, it causes a problem. And the problem that it causes is that it says that you have more power over your existence. It also means that you have the power, in a sense, to be able, in a sense, to also give more of yourself. And so what this does is that this means, in a sense, that you have to make sure that while you're engaged in this activity, you have to make sure, in a sense, that you understand that we're in a process in which we're trying to affect change. But we're trying to affect change in what's called a vacuum. And why is it called a vacuum? It's a vacuum because of the fact, in a sense, that many, many people, in a sense, don't understand that you have to look at this from a real and positive perspective. Black Lyron said, agreed. That's why it's so important that they have us psychologically controlled. Why go to such an extent to control a minority? That's true. But in a way, it's not, they do have a psychology. They do use psychology to be able to dominate us. But at the same time, in a sense, it's a voluntary psychosis. I'm working with one of my former students, and she's working on her PhD, and her PhD is dealing with trauma, And so then I love our conversations, and and I can't wait until she produces completes her dissertation and writes her book. But the thing is, this is that, as I often tell her, is that for people that supposed to have suffered so much trauma during slavery, for people that supposed to have experienced so much trauma during slavery, it's kind of very interesting that we're able, in a sense, to still go through life in a very without this trauma, because I've experienced trauma. And when I experienced trauma one time, I couldn't get out of bed. When I experienced trauma, I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to get out of bed, and I longed for the night. I longed to fall asleep and stuff like that. And so then this is trauma to me. And yet, even though we went through a terrible experience, which was slavery, it seems as though somehow we were able to disassociate ourselves. I don't know, maybe that's how we became, maybe as a people, we're bipolar.
I like that. I think that if Black America was more comfortable talking about their mental issues, then the rest of America wouldn't be trying to force their mental issues on us. I think that, the moral compass it's a big and heavy responsibility, because everybody's looking at how we react and do things. But when you say, because we've had this conversation before about trauma, and you've given me a deeper understanding for what we've gone through and what we've been able to do. But I would say, and I've been thinking about this, so I'm glad you brought this up tonight, but what if our genetics is the reason that we can take so much? Like it is the energy law and energy law, because I know it's a bunch of different laws about energy, but if energy can't be created or destroyed, only changed or mutated inside of a closed system. But then Earth is not a closed system because we're always being fed by the sun, which is a constant source of energy until it isn't a sun anymore. Then people who've always been here would always have a source of energy to do some incredible things, even when you think it shouldn't be possible. And then I guess an example for anybody who's ever seen any plant grow under and through the concrete. There should be no plant that grows through concrete, but it can and does happen, and not just on a one-off. Just if you don't mess with the foundation or get the weeds up or whatever, and you lay some concrete down, then weeds are busting through. That grass is coming through. That rose will come through, and well, now your concrete foundation's all messed up, but you got a pretty flower or something going on that's not supposed to be there. It was supposed to get knocked down and eradicated and stifled and stamped on and all these things, but still it does what it's supposed to, even through the trauma. So what's that unless it's like a divine source of energy? And I think that that's us. We have a tap in, or the ability to tap into a divine source of energy. So we can take a whole bunch of shit and keep going, even though other people would buckle at a percentage point of what we go through and deal with.
You know, that's scary. That's a scary concept.
I'm sorry.
No, it is scary because see that would imply in a sense is that if we have that ability, then therefore we have no right for vengeance and no right for revenge. And the thing is, this is that I'd rather feel you're probably right, but I'd rather feel that there's limitations in how we can view the world. I'd like to believe that there are limitations in terms of how we can respond to our experiences in the world. And the reason in a sense I want to have limitations is that then I don't have to be wise. See, because if I accept your analysis, which is probably correct, because your intuition is probably right on point, is that because of our higher consciousness, then therefore in a sense it's very difficult for us to be able to really affect true revenge. You know, it's even hard for us to be vengeful unless we can get out of body and we can, in a sense, move away from our own instincts or our own, in a sense, ideas about the universe. Because see, when you brought up that whole idea about a stone and you see the concrete, you see the sidewalk, and then all of a sudden you see a plant or you see grass coming up through that area, but it's concrete up under there. How did it get there? You see, right. And so then you're also saying, Eve, is that there's a metaphysical in addition to a spiritual existence for us. You see, because see, we have to somehow be in reality but outside reality, and that's a scary concept, because I'd rather be a materialist. And if I'm a materialist, then I can believe everything has a reason, everything has a compactness, and that everything will be copostatic, because of the fact, in the sense that chance exists, But then the whole point is this, is that I don't like to believe in chance, but I want chance to exist. See, but as you know, but I know most women, females, my wife, most of the time y'all don't see the world in terms of chance.
Well, I don't think you see the world in terms of chance as much as what you said right before that was more true, which is you want to believe, and this is just my opinion. So in the chat, please don't think that I'm sitting in here trying to tell Dr. Winters anything about himself as much as my thought on this.
You can.
Well, I feel like your experience is the reason you got reasons for why you feel. Maybe we don't ever have the time to jump into the nitty gritty about that because it's just a 2-hour show and then I talk a lot and then life be life. And anyway, I'm just saying I don't want this to come off like I'm trying to do anything more than just observe, but
I'll be honest, my problem is that I fell in love. And you're not supposed to fall in love.
You think chance. I don't. And I don't think you think chance because you just told me that we choose our parents. And prior to you telling me we choose our parents, I would think that would be chance. I mean, outside of just remembering the conversation with whoever or whatever. And I like that thought. I don't want to try to sit here and try to falsify it because that's like what happens after death? Who the fuck knows? I haven't died yet, or at least I don't remember dying last time. And then sometimes maybe I do remember dying and it's like, maybe don't do that because that might be how you had to come back this time. But at the end of the day, I think one of our first conversations, this is almost a full 365, but one of our first conversations was about revenge and just how it's never gonna stick the same way we want it to stick. How they hurt you is never going to be the same. And you can take an extreme example. Someone kills your child, you go kill their child. And is your kid back? No. Did you feel better? Maybe. But at the end of the day, you wanted something to happen that means that your child is not gone anymore. And when people start to have that honesty moment where whatever I do is not going to bring them back, that's when we have that moral high ground compass that everybody looks to us for. Like we already know most of this shit, but we like the fact that lives. People be people in the maths because all of us are different and have our own different experiences and why we came back and why we're here and what we're supposed to do. And I think that things could be extremely simple if we get out of the way, but we don't have to. We exist in a time where we said it was okay for everybody to have a say right now.
Yeah,
and
but
times.
it was just like that. When I went to when I was in high school, it was a girl named Diane. So I wanted to go to activity, and so we used to have on Friday nights at my high school it would be a dance. And so, the whole school, you could go to activity after school. They had games, skating, and then to close the night off, they would have a dance. So, you could, find a dance partner and all that type of stuff.
At school?
Yeah, that was at my high school on Friday
in high school.
Night.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then I remember that the first time I saw my wife at activity, I felt that she was staring at me, but I think I was staring at her. But the thing is that after we got married, and then we talked, and I started seeing how she was always a block away from where I lived. Wait a minute, and then I said to myself, "Oh damn! I guess it was somehow destined that we would meet each other, because why was she always living a block or 2 blocks from where I was?" And it was like, this is weird in a sense.
But chance, right? Like that is chance. Right there. What are the odds that y'all even liked each other? Who cares that y'all lived in proximity? You lived in proximity with a bunch of females, I'm sure, and they weren't the one, but then the one was right there, like right there.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Why was the one right there? You know what I mean? It was kind of difficult because I remember back in the day when I first understood, in a sense, a lot of times most men would try to get average girls back in the day, but I would always notice that the ugliest guys had the prettiest girls, and I said, "Damn, how do these ugly guys have all these pretty girls?" But then what I noticed is that the ugly guys would always step up and talk to the girls. They go and take a chance to be put down. And most of us would say, "Oh, she wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't probably even want to give me a second thought and stuff." And so I said, "Damn, if the ugly guys could do it, I could do it too."
Hey, there you go.
But at the same time, in a sense, It was just that I saw life. I saw life as looking at what was going on, and that was a terrible thing to do because see, you know, you're supposed to just live life, and by just living life, then you can just experience it. But I don't like the fact that I was always cautious. I always felt I had to know where I was going. I mean, I always had to check someplace out. I wanted to make sure, in a sense, for example, when I went to college, the first thing I did when I went to university was I was running around the residence hall trying to find all the alleys and stuff and where the fences was. So
Oh my goodness.
yes. So I, I mean, hey, in case I in case I had to live, in case I had to run and survive.
I mean,
You
but
know,
that's real. I think that you always go and do something where it's like men and women think differently. And
yeah.
while we were talking about Chance, you brought into the whole, safety aspects. I don't know that most women, so there are some of y'all out there, and I'm trying to get more like this, but I don't know that most women are thinking about exits. When you get to a place, do you know all of your exits? Do you know how to get out of this place that you've gotten
I don't
into?
think you guys did.
No, I don't think we do. I mean, to this day, my man will be driving, and I like to drive, and I think that he doesn't like my backseat driving, so he'll let me drive. And then we'll get to a train, because I live in a black neighborhood, and black neighborhoods are littered with railroads and all sorts of things that don't make sense, like one-way streets to dead ends, even though the street picks up past the something else. But I say all that to say that when you get to a train, you start thinking about your exits. Can I get out? Like, what if the train pulls up and they open the doors and it's like martial laws right now, and it's like some iRobot shit? Can you get out, or are you one of them I'm just sitting waiting for a train to pass, and then the train doesn't pass, and not only does it not pass. And I've never had a thought like that before I started listening to my man with this regards to exits. It's not just in the grocery store or in the movies. Can you get out of where you are? And I mean, when I first got to college, I wasn't thinking about any exits as much as, I knew how to get out of my room. I knew how to get out of the building if there was a fire. That's about it.
But I thought like that because I've been shot at a couple of times, and always I've been shot a couple of times, and always felt that that when I used to leave my my wife, she's my girlfriend, house, coming back at because a lot of times, in a sense, coming back at 12 o'clock at night or something like that, and and all these people on the street, and and so you always had to be on guard. Do you know, Eve? Up until my 30s, no matter how hot it was in the summer, I always wore a jacket.
Mm.
I think I may have tell you I always wore a jacket, so just in case I ran into some Puerto Ricans or something, and we got in a knife fight, I could always take my jacket and wrap it around my arm so I could block their knives. That's crazy.
No, it's not though. It's what I said. Your experiences, and everybody, we all have reasons for why we feel like how we feel. And most of the time it's related to an incident where if you didn't learn from that incident, then you're liable to deal with it again. And coming from where you come from, you've had a lot of life and death instances. Maybe the few life and death instances I've had, I've gotten through it like, damn, I don't think I was supposed to make it out of that. But okay.
Most of the time, as a woman, it was like maybe it was a almost car accident or something like that. But then, as a man growing up during the gang period, you just always felt, always had people putting guns in your face. You're gonna join the gang? No, I'm not joining the gang.
Yeah,
flat out,
So I've never had a gun put in my face, but
I had so many guns in my face. I had so many people tell me they was gonna kill me. After a while, I'd say, "Well, fuck you. If you better kill me, because if I tell you this, if you miss, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna beat the shit out of your ass." I wouldn't say that to these young guys nowadays. But back then, no, back in the 60s and 70s, people they didn't want to. A person wanted to shoot you in the back or shoot you in the turn. They didn't want to shoot you face to face. Nowadays, these young kids, they play so many video games. Oh shit! Oh, you said shoot me, huh, old nigga? Bam!
Right. No, they definitely don't like the face to face, but this is, to me, this is us acting like them. They don't like the one-on-one aspect with us. And then when we're around them for too long, we start acting like them. So then we don't like the one-on-one aspect. But then some of these people are not even us. They just look like us. So, where they're getting their extra nastiness or their extra ability to compartmentalize the fuckery, like, because what you said earlier, it's, when we can turn ourselves off, then we can kind of just go with the flow. It doesn't really matter because it's not, I'm not worried about it. I turn that off. And I have a very close relationship with this type of thinking because trauma. I think that we have the ability to turn things off in order to get things done, because if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. So then some things don't get done unless we do it. And then maybe at the end of the day, because these bare minimum things are happening in some form or fashion, we're not thinking that it's emergency. But like Black Liren in the chat earlier, he was saying about Bernie and socialism, and we need a social floor and stuff like that. And I used to feel like Bernie might have been the way, but then when you ask people point blank about us specifically, and then they start having all sorts of different words that aren't, yes, we need to cut the check for y'all now. We should have done it then. I'm sorry we didn't do it then. And when I get in there, I'm going to make it right. That's never been the conversation for these people. It's always, well, I did it, and them other people did it. What do you mean? I don't understand. I understand money in my bank the same way they put that stimulus in my account.
But see, the whole point is this: is that Europeans, they don't see us as a limited people. They see us as a limitless people. As a result, they feel they have to always check us and not to see what we're doing, because they know if they leave us alone, they can't stop you. They can't stop us. I mean, here it is that now there's people living in homes better than their masters used to live in, and all that type of stuff. I do believe that in this incarnation, I believe I've had multiple incarnations. I believe my last incarnation, I was in France during World War II, and I went up the steps because I always had this dream. Now, I always had this dream where I had a carbine. That's a rifle. I always had a carbine, not M1. I had a carbine, and I was in France, and I had a carbine, and I went up the steps, and then in a sense, I didn't come back down. And I had that dream for several years, so I feel like my last life I got killed over there during World War II. But I believe that many people who were white in their last incarnation, I believe they're black in this incarnation. And I believe in the sense that because many of the black people today in their former lives they were white, I think we're much colder. We're much colder towards each other than the people that I met growing up. The black people I met growing up in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, they were very warm. They were very warm. They felt they had a mission. And the mission was for us to be successful, was for us to move forward. The black people today, we're much colder. We're more materialistic. We're more driven. So that's why I believe that most of us were formerly whites, and now we incarnated as blacks.
And all that means is that we're all the same at the end of the day. So all the people who use the brown egg, white egg thing, and they crack it and they say, look inside, it's all the same. We bleed red, don't we? And it's like, I mean, I feel you. But then when it rains, I don't smell like sulfur. So something inside is different. We're going to have to agree to some things. Yeah. And honestly, to me, life would be a lot easier if we just agreed to some things. But then what we really have is a lot of people are uncomfortable with some things, and instead of us dealing with it, we want to either ignore it or have people accept it. You know, a lot of our I think a lot of our dissonance is because we've been too close to people who don't have the experience. So then we're leaning to people who don't know, which is why I try to say, if I ever say anything about you and how I think you're doing, it's not me trying to tell you anything more than my observation from my eyeballs. And I wear glasses, y'all, so I'm a bitch you can't see. And I don't mean to say that I'm a bitch.
I wear glasses too. So
you know, so sometimes people who can't see can see some shit. And that always makes some people in my family laugh because it's ironic. But I think that, you know, when we have the time to pause, we can have some thoughts. When we have these thoughts, then they're going to lead to other thoughts if you give yourself some grace. And then, well, we've been doing this for a year now, and you've taught me different ways to apply grace gracefully at that. So it's, well, I think it was fitting for us to talk about energy tonight because, well, it's so cold. I mean, it snowed here. It snowed in Houston. It generally snows in Virginia. That's not a phenomena, but we got a lot of snow, and then not a blizzard snow, but just enough snow to not have school. So we got some time to pause. And I just kept thinking about how energy is not created or destroyed. This is what they've taught us. So is this an unlearn, relearn moment for me? Or is it a deeper dive? Not relearn it as much as dig deeper. And the deeper we dig, the blacker it is. Soil is rich. The blacker it is. The wine is expensive. The darker and older it is. Yeah. You know, we've got some accounting to do. And then I'm not an astrologist, you guys. I don't work for NASA, but something about Pluto being in alignment with the sun now and how that is similar to a time in the past, like colonial time, and then Trump talking about making America great, and then the specific times he talks about. Some of these things are lining up too coincidentally. It's too many coincidences for them to be a coincidence, so it's not chance. But then if energy can't be created or destroyed, then all of our ancestor fighters are still here, all of them. And I don't believe that they're white now because they was black last time. Mm-hmm. As much as if they are white this time, then maybe they are one of those millions and millions of white people who've been offing themselves that they don't want to tell us about, because that's the only way that the numbers add up when you have population growth like they tried to write down. So then you'd have to be dying in record numbers and not reporting it for you to be in the global red now. But
the only reason I believe that a lot of black people are white, and a lot of we're incarnated now into whiteness, into blackness, and a lot of blacks incarnated into whiteness, is that now, in a sense, this is a period in time where you find a lot of Europeans that they're much more empathetic, and they're not an empathetic people traditionally. So then, therefore, that's why I feel that it has to be some sort of mix up. But that's just me looking at society over all these years, and comparing how people were in the 60s, the black people in the 60s and 70s, and how those type of people don't exist anymore among us. It's still a lot of good black people, but they don't have that. They don't have that humanism. They don't have that concept of real love. You know, we're very materialistic now. And, a lot of the older people back in the day, they just loved you for love's sake, and they just wanted to do their best. And they felt that as a people, we had to progress. And they, like I was thinking the other day, how I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was talking to somebody at Walmart, I have a lot of adventures in Walmart. So, you're laughing, but it's true. And so me and this
Our next
guy.
show might have to just be your adventures at Walmart. Put a GoPro camera on you and just
That's
let it.
true. And so then, so when we was leaving, so when I was leaving Walmart today, so this guy, the checker, he's usually really down. He usually has something to say. And so I was saying that, this is very interesting. I said, do you remember when we was growing up? I don't know about you, but I said I remember once I took a switch, you know, a switch off. It was a real nice green switch off a tree, and I took the switch home, and I said, "Here, Mama, you can have this to whoop Marianne with." And my mom said, "Oh, thank you, Clyde." And so she took the switch. I'm gonna put it up here on the refrigerator. When Marianne act up, I'm gonna whoop her with it. Thank you. You're so kind. You're so good. And so then, so a couple of times Marianne acted up. I said, "Damn, she didn't even get that switch." Then the minute I acted up, I got whipped by my own damn switch.
By your own hand.
By the switch. And now we were talking about that the other day. Me and my sister. Me and my me and my sister and my daughter. We were talking the other day. We were talking about the fact how the old people in the old days, they did not want you to squill on each other. They didn't want you to be acting up, and they didn't want their kids to be naughty. But parents did not want you to tell on your siblings. They didn't want you to tell on your siblings. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They wanted you. Go ahead.
No, I remember we talked about this on one of our shows, but I think that it's because of I think maybe always surface level. I'm going to say it's an epigenetic memory, but then really I don't just say that because it's easy, as much as it kind of is easy. If there used to be a time where, telling on each other got benefits or privileges, or maybe telling didn't get benefits or privileges, and maybe we would not trust people who want us to tell on somebody else. But then on a parent level, just with the 5 minis that we have, I find that it's more of a growing up moment. Are you able to handle problem and conflict on your own? Or do you have to come run to mommy and daddy every time you have a problem? Because not that we're not going to help you or fix it if something needs to be fixed, but at some point you're going to have to show us that you can handle conflict and problems, and telling on your brother or sister isn't going to solve anything, because what happens when we're not here? Who are you going to tell? Are you going to tell somebody that's safe? You're going to call the cops on them? It's a lot of levels we have to have and think about as Black people in America, but other people don't have these conversations, talks, or thoughts. And go ahead.
But I remember when I was raising my kids, I don't, it must have something that was genetic, because I don't remember really having a talk with them about this is the reasons why I don't want you to tell on your brothers and sisters. You just knew you're not supposed to tell on your brothers and sisters. And you knew, in a sense, and when I was younger, I knew growing up that I wasn't supposed to tell on people. Maybe my mom and them did say, if the police come, you don't know nothing about nothing going on in the community. You don't know nothing about what's happening in other people's houses. You don't tell the police. And that was just the way it was, You just wasn't a squiller, Mm-hmm. And I think you took that down to your children, in the sense that you wouldn't even honor them if they told all the time, even though you didn't want your kid to be out there being a thief or crook or murderer or whatever. But at the same time, we didn't want to know a lot of stuff. Create So Far says, what if you were standing in the bathroom, look next to you, and one of the greats was standing next to you? That happened to me tonight. It was Professor Kava Kamene. There in the bathroom in Whole Food. I'm glad he was at a reasonable place to shop.
I thought he meant that he was seeing spirits, because what in the world is going on? You've got living spirits show up. Like, that's some power you got going on over there, Crates. But
that's what you said. You said, what in the world?
Because when I was reading that, I said, Crates, that's pretty powerful, dude. We are a powerful people. But then Crates is an artist, and I've seen the art, and I would concur that my assumptions of the power being strong over there, it is strong over there. Y'all should check out Crate's art.
I want to know where his site is. Nobody ever sends me his.
What? Okay, tonight I will put it. I'll put it in the chat, and then I'll send it to you in a text. But if you see something I shared, I don't mean to continue to repeat this one point. So if y'all have already tuned into any of my shows this week, I think I only had one, but I think I'm gonna keep hitting this one point all week. So if you're tired of it, I'm sorry. It's something that needs to be repeated. But do you see the link on the bottom? It's like 2 minutes long, but it goes into I guess the memories and how some people don't have such memories, so things might be a little hard
for this, because I've reached the part in this whole like class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage, and like I'm talking that white hot, I need to sink my teeth and into something and scream kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet. And I'm penny pinching every single second. And like, there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on because of money and like work and no social support net. And you mean to tell me that it didn't have to be like this? They keep us in these chains on purpose, and it never had to be like this. Like, I did everything right. I went to college. I had to drop out of college to take care of my mom when she was sick because, again, no social services, like no safety nets. My dad worked his whole life and died and left everything to my mom. My mom was disabled, and she lived on credit, and like, she barely made ends meet, and she did everything she was supposed to. And I did everything I was supposed to. And it just keeps getting worse.
It just keeps getting worse, you guys. I mean, what do you mean? What in the world? I'm sorry. Other people, if y'all tuned into me yesterday or Monday, I know that I've already used this video and I'm going to use it again on Friday. So just be ready, because it's so much to unpack for Becky, and she's just filled with this white rage that the symbolism is not escaping me, you guys. It's so funny how people can say lots in a little bit of words, and she had lots of words to say, but
it's almost like the video that Yoshi made today, you know, in terms of asking these questions, is that they created a world. They created a world of limitations. You know, I know that back in the day in New York City, you could go to college for free. You know, that's why most of your professors belong to I'll say it. That's why most of your professors are Jewish, because many of the professors went to college in New York, in New York City, and they had a free college education. Then all they had to do, then they could move on to other programs. But then as soon as Black people found out about the free college, you had to pay. They always put it.
Yep. Say that again. I'm sorry. I just say that one more time for the people in the back of the class.
Education was free in New York City, you know, to go to junior college and maybe in some of the other colleges, it was very limited amount of money that you had to pay, but you could go to university for free. But as soon as FBA found out about the free college tuition and being able to go to junior college free, they flipped the script and they started saying you had to pay. And that's one of the reasons why you'll find, for my generation, my generation when I went to college, just about all the professors were Jewish professors who had come from New York.
Mm.
Because a lot of them had been able to get, I guess, that free college education, so they was able to spread. Oh yeah, most of my professors, were kind of, in a sense, they were mainly from New York City and all that around the country, and because the other place you had to pay money, and so then, as I think it was somebody the other day, some of the factors that they had free swimming pool, then later you had to pay. They always try to do things to hold us back. And every time they try to do things to hold us back, we always think of a way to get it anyway. You know what I'm saying? They do everything they can to hold us back, but we find a way to always be able to make things so that we can also participate, that we can also have access to a lot of things. And that's scary to them, because the point is this, is that they want to make it unique. They want to make it in a sense so that they can have everything for themselves.
It's that is the point that I think needs to continue to be repeated and reiterated, is that when we became competitive, that's when things started costing. And shout out to Phil of the African Diaspora News Network that I got the video from, because I've tried to find that video on its own on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I can't find the video, but it's been making rounds on platforms, and maybe not her specifically, but just the thought, white people raging and crashing out because the cost of living here is so bad. But we've been saying America doesn't give a shit about you either. Yeah, you got white privilege, but no, look at what's in the food. I saw this one comparison way at the beginning of Aldi being introduced to America. So 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And it's not a long time ago, but just whenever Aldi was introduced to America and we found out that there was a European company selling things here, and you go there with, you don't have to have a bags or cart. You can just, however the fuck you want to get your groceries, put it in that, and then, or you can pay for a bag, and then you get your quarterback and all these brand new, really cool things. But the really cool thing was the ingredient list on these products. And there was a Google image that kept circulating about strawberries and cream oatmeal, which is never a brand, or not a brand, but by Quaker Oats, strawberries and cream oatmeal. That's not a flavor I like, but it was the flavor that was circulating. And in Europe, strawberries, oats, milk, sugar. That is the ingredients on the strawberries and cream oatmeal. In America, the 4 ingredients that I just listed were all the way at the end of this 28 ingredient list. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And they won't even eat our food. Europeans won't even eat food produced in America. Right. They won't eat it,
I saw this one video where the lady said that she doesn't eat bread, but when she leaves America, she does eat bread. And then everybody in America, not everybody, but a lot of people, and especially if you've been born in the past 20 years, might have a gluten sensitivity. But then people will say, man, I remember when we didn't have gluten, and then y'all are just snowflakes and blah, blah, blah. But no, people really do have celiac diseases and gut issues, and their bodies can't work with these ingredients. It's almost similar to what happens with a cow. Cows don't process corn and soy the way that we don't process corn. You eat corn and then you see it again later. And it's like, hey, there's some corn. I've seen you before. It's really strange, but corn. But then cows are the same way, and they drill holes in the side of a cow to help it process the food that it can't process, because they got a billion different stomachs. I'm not a cow doctor, y'all, so I think it's 4, but don't misquote me. Just know that you can look it up. Cows, corn, hole in the stomach. And they got a person that their job is to go help the cow work the corn through their system. I say all that to say that if they're feeding the animals shit that they can't process, and then we're eating the animals that is not really getting anything out of the food that it's eating as much as it is getting big, and it is producing a lot of it,
No.
Energy equals life. We're out here zombies because of what you said earlier. And I'm sorry, not what you said earlier, but the zombie thing that you said earlier is because of what we're getting our energy from. Now,
Yeah.
Black people have a direct source to some divine, eternal, everlasting, not going nowhere for our lifetime energy. And there's a lot of interruptions and obstacles in the way. So, you know,
And
it's
that's that
only
solar
right.
energy. That's
Right.
that solar energy, and that's one of the reasons why we can't be don't get sick so quick. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Yoshima said, "Wow, y'all got white friends. That's next level. I haven't met a cool white person in Texas. That could be true." Teresa Mills said, "Not the dreaded switch." And then what did you say? Eve? You said, laughing out loud, Yoshima, I have a few white people that I think might be cool. I had a couple of white women colleagues I worked with that they were okay, but I never, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
It is weird.
Because I try to think back to college and when I was playing football and my teammates and it seemed like we just played. We just played. We came and we played on Saturday. We practiced every day, but we didn't really socialize, when I was at university. But I don't know what it's like now. Like Ryan said,
boys though, right? Boys and men, y'all are the less social creatures of the social creatures. So then you come do your job and then you go home. You start adding women to the mix and you got all sorts of conversation about what's going on at home and then life and then messy and then men aren't sleeping with each other at work, getting in messy situations. And unless they are, because sometimes that does happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. Like Lyron said, you'll get some spiritual people of all races here in Atlanta. Yoshi, I've had to educate him, but he's one of the defected from the white Anglo-Christian Southern tradition for more spiritual pursuits. I don't know. I met a couple of white women that I worked with over the years that I thought was pretty cool, but I haven't never met a. I'm sorry to. I had a few. I had very few. I can't think of any white men that I would consider was my friend. Maybe that's sad. I don't know.
I don't know if that's sad. I think that you grew up in a time where it's safety over everything else. And then a lot of the lessons that I hear and, just the stories you tell about your experiences, it all sounds like safety. And then, well, how does the one-off, which is foundational Black America, how do we continue to exist even though these people didn't want us to be here and every other group of niggas on the planet got eradicated? And, well, I think we got something going over here.
Yeah,
we got four seasons over here. Shit, I don't know. It might be the cold
because it was too many of us. Well, see, we're the majority. We're the majority in this country. That's why they could never kill us off.
But Dr. Winters, I'm gonna have the devil's advocate right now because in South Africa, there's too many of them. 98% to 2% means that they should have never, ever, ever been subjugated, oppressed, or the victims of colonization. Afrikaners, Elon Musk and shit.
But look at them. Look at them. You got your coloreds, you got your blackies, you got your Boers, you got your English. It's always when you got a lot of tribalism. The difference between us and is that the white man didn't allow us over here to practice tribalism. But what the white man did allow us to understand, see, we understood right away is that it's not to our advantage to tear this mother down, because see, we helped build it. See, this is a crazy thing to try to understand. We built this nation. Because we built this nation, then therefore, in a sense, is that we say, well, we don't get all the full benefits of the nation, but at the same time, we get a lot of benefits out of it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, the whole world.
Interesting.
Yeah, the whole world operates off our culture. you know, the invention of the light bulb, the telephone, the computer, all these things that we invented to make life better for us over here is what makes the world go round. Even Elijah McCoy, when he made, in a sense, when he made the engine, when he made, in a sense, the automatic engine, these things, in a sense, were such that they allowed people to be able to understand the reality of truth. You want to play that?
Yes. And then I want to get back to the three that you were talking about. YouTube, this is for educational purposes. I know we don't have any mods in the chat to continue to write that over and over and over again, but don't flag the video tonight because of what I'm sharing, but it's relevant to our educational conversation.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Okay, so there you go, Yoshi. Thank you. The only real part that I wanted to play was that Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And then the rest of it, you know, just if you've seen Doctor Strange, you'll know that this scene happens over and over and over again. And it is this repeated thing, the Groundhog's Day of it all, the over and over and over again. That's us. And then Hollywood always takes our story and then they sensationalize it and they put a white person on it. And then people who don't have the time to pause will never sit and make a connection like this. So yes, I might be on Plebiscite Island. My tinfoil bonnet might be wound or wrapped a little too tight tonight, but for what it's worth, energy equals life. Where we're sourcing our energy from, how we're using what we're sourcing, you know, I think all of it's relevant to us getting what's owed to us. And then again, if what you said is true, we choose our parents, we choose to come back. Why are we coming back to something that hasn't been fixed unless we say that, yeah, this time I'm going to get it right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the things. And then, well, we get here, we get comfortable. What you got next time? I'm going to do it next time. It's okay because I have next time. I don't know how many lives a cat really has because I don't know how many lives we have to do this over and over and over again. But
see that's what makes this an eternal journey, and it's because the fact, in a sense, is that everything is so individualized. Eve, you family, you guys should have really paid attention to what Eve said. Is that's what life is all about. Life is all about you. It's all about you. It's about your experience and how you're going to deal with the various complications or problems that you interact with every day. You see, and so then that's what it's all about. And so when you see Doctor Strange in these worlds and these images, that's what it's all about. You know, sometimes it's not maybe always to that extreme, but there's things that we go through, it's things that we had to experience, it's things that we had to find a way to navigate through this, you know. But see, the whole point is this: is that we do want to be here. But you know, on Yoshimod, he says, Yoshimod talks about the warrior. That's why I chose the media. Yeah, you can choose the media because that's, in a sense, how you can fight. But it's how do you fight? You know, for years I fought with words. I fought with writing, articles, research, stuff like that. Eve, on the other hand, she fights with asking questions. See, Eve is a modern Socrates. You see, but the beauty of it is that by her being a woman, she doesn't make us want to be aggressive and want to fight her and hurt her because she's asking these questions. See, Eve is, yes, that's what happened to Socrates. You know, too many people ask questions. He asked too many questions.
Was Socrates black or white?
He was black, you know.
So then Socrates was a self-inflicted wound because of the question asking aspect, because I thought it was with Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates, the ones that they will let us know about. If you meritorious manumissioned yourself into white, then they'll mention you and talk about you and give you some credit. But if you say where you got it from, or if the apple didn't fall on your head and then you came up with gravity, because what's gravity before the apple falls on my head? Obviously, I'm the one who gets it and nobody else got it. Not I got it from somewhere. But once you start putting appropriate respect on the things, well, the powers that be don't like it so much. And since, well, right now the ball is up in their favor, well, we've allowed it to stay up there. I don't know if we've got like a fan on the bottom, like saying, hey, no, your ball can stay up there because our ball was up there for a long time. So let's just do it how y'all have been doing it. But I think it's very easy for things to change. But then, well, the saying easier said than done exists for a reason. Like Yoshi said, he chooses media to fight, or this is how he fights with, his media. And I think that a lot of our artists got because of that. We are very astute and on it, especially when we can speak in a language that everybody understands. You go to a museum, you look at art, you don't have to speak English to know the feeling of the piece.
True. But see, the beauty of the day, I know you're an artist and Yoshi's an artist. And in a way, I'm kind of an artist, but I'm in a different category. But the thing that made it, that's what made YouTube so beautiful. And I guess TikTok is even better. Is that all these social media, the social media has allowed Black people to blossom. What I mean by that is that it's allowed us to be able to create our own lifestyle, our own experience. Back in the day when we had to wait for the white media, to really play up the stuff that was going on in the Black community, it was a very limiting experience. But see, now with YouTube, where you can get on and you can create stuff, it's allowed us, I think, to have more freedom. More freedom. It's allowed us to think about things that we wouldn't normally think about. It's scary. It's scary too. It is kind of scary to be able to have that experience. And it's kind of scary to be able to tell the European what you think about him, and he can even tell you what he think about you. But at the same time, those we don't have to interact with each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to interact with each other because, I mean, the first and last place, that most Black people see white people is at school or when they go downtown.
But think about is it your grandson or your nephew? You said somebody is dating a Hispanic woman.
My
girl.
My grandson, he's a football player, and he lives in a community that's right next to Latinos and stuff. And so since he's probably got a lot of my talent as a football player, he found a Latina
Hey.
ready. He can be ready so that when he becomes that pro, he can give her that money, and that money can go stay in the white community. It's crazy, but it's kind of very interesting. I was thinking about when I went to school and how those white girls used to throw themselves at me and stuff, and sisters too. But the thing is that they were very angry at me when I got married because they felt in a sense that I should have given myself to the world.
Oh yeah, no, you should have thrown your life away and stayed in the hood and become a statistic, and then the world goes round. Because when we start leveling up, it makes everybody uncomfortable, because what I said earlier, I think, is very true. We know better already. We choose to do the easy route, which is, well, we got next time and we got next time. So until we get to a time where they start saying the sun is not coming out tomorrow, then niggas will be like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna have to do some work. And, you know, I don't know if we had to let it get this bad, but still, this is ours and we can fix it. But I think that the Black family, you know, that's the ultimate winning move. And then if you can do it in a way that the nature math makes sense, then that's an even more winning move. But then we do have a lot of obstacles and things that we have to deal with and work through because of the whole people thing. So while we might be on it, the people around us aren't on it. I'm in a group chat on Twitter with a bunch of Black women, and they talk a lot. And shout out to y'all, because a lot of y'all said that you're going to start tuning in. So if you're listening tonight, shout out to you. But it seems like people want different. But then when you start thinking about what you have to do, you find that it's very lonely. You don't want to do it by yourself. You might not have the energy because of all the other things that you have to do. And then if you're a woman, society's not giving us any time to do that comfortably or safely. So if you're by yourself, then that's extra. If you're not by yourself, well, that's extra too, because you got to do it with somebody. And then at the end of the day, it might just be easier to just say, fuck it all. I'll do it next time. Or maybe I
never do it.
Right. Like, because why? If every time I come back, I have to keep doing it, the fuck is the point? It might just be easier to just YOLO it each time.
You might push the lever just a little bit further. You know, but I know back when I was that Black guy, and what are you talking about? When I was that Black guy back in the 70s and 80s, you know, and you know, you have people say there's that Black guy, and they're Black too, but it was like they were afraid of your ass and they were going to try to avoid you. He's that Black guy, that Black history man. He's talking about niggas did everything in ancient history, so get away from him. And no, I'm serious, Eve. It was scary.
I know. Well, like if you Google you already have an arch nemesis out here. Yoshi, please make a comic for the minis of Dr. Winters and his arch nemesis, the person who puts all that nasty stuff out on the internet, and make him like the bad guy from Inspector Gadget, the one with the cat, and you can't see him, but you know that like, because it's crazy that you can have all of this work that people can't falsify, right? Yeah. But then this one person or system hates you so much that it's going to go out of its way to just lie. And then because they've got resources and people, they can keep the lies up there.
Or they control Wikipedia. He's an editor of Wikipedia. But you know, it's kind of I outlived most of my enemies, and so he's the last one. But
last one.
Yeah, he's the last one, and he's a powerful person because, you know, maybe, you know, like, you know, back in the day, a lot of people used to try to put a page up on. You can go to Wikipedia and you can find just about every Black scholar that ever existed. It's at least a paragraph on Wikipedia, but you will not find a Wikipedia page about me. But they have a Rational Wiki page, and this guy created a site called Rational Wiki, and the only person on that site is me. and you know, I used to try to fight him back in the day, and it'll come up the most evilest, the most racist, the most Black supremacist is Dr. Clyde Winters. And you know, but see, the thing is this, is that he couldn't really fight me because the thing is this, when I was able to publish articles in peer-reviewed scientific journals, they got so pissed off. They said, how can this Afrocentric person, but they didn't understand I knew my shit. You know, I could read, I learned about what? I learned about 7, 8 languages back in the day, so I could find all over the damn place. You know, I could read it, I could find it, and then I could put it all together. And so it was scary for them. But I mean, hey, I'm very happy because I was lucky. I was lucky to get to meet you, Eve, and I love listening to young people, family out there. Don't leave Eve alone, but she's a reincarnation of our Black Socrates. And the thing, oh yes, you are. You're his reincarnation, in the sense that you have the best questions. You have the best questions. You have the questions in the sense that people need answers to, and yet people are afraid of them. And that's it. That's the beauty of it. But again, in a sense, you know, that's just the way I see it.
I wish you could see how big my smile is. You've given me all sorts of warm feelings and blushy cheeks and stuff. That's very humbling for you to say that, because I think that you wouldn't have the knowledge you have if you didn't ask questions. So you've got all this really important information that people need to know. And then look, this is what I was doing in the past 2 minutes. I have Bing, you know, like my search engine default is Bing. Mm-hmm. So when you look up who is Dr. Clyde Winters, me and my AI have lots of conversations. Can you see it on the bottom? So when you look up who you are, educator, anthropologist, and linguist, and nothing on this page is disparaging, like nothing. I mean, it's all you, and I think this is great. But then when you go to Google, which y'all start thinking about who all owns Google and stuff, and who is Dr. Clyde Winters, same question in the search engine, right? The same first link, the African American Literature Book Club. So I don't know who they are, but shout out to y'all. And then the next thing, the very next post is that Rational Wiki page that you said. And if people do that,
oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Educational research, they'll think that the second link on their search is credible, when it's really, you got to think about the search engine. We have to do all of this digging and uncovering layers and layers and layers to get to the truth. And to me, it's all more reasons for us to be owed 28 years ago times 10, right? So we were owed immediately after the chains were taken off or broken free from, or however you want to talk about the past and our chattel slavery. When that was over, they should have cut the check. And not cutting the check just means that they were agreeing to pay a bigger check later. And since that's the agreement, every time we go to the bank and we sign an agreement that says that we're going to pay something, or we'll pay more later if we don't pay now. I got an overdraft fee the other day. How does the bank charge you for not having money? But then they didn't pay the fee, but then they charged you for not having the fee. And it's all of this goes back to that white woman. I feel her rage. What do you mean? Because if all of this points back to the only reason that anything costs anything is because we became competitive.
It is.
We're going to have to tap into some different sources of energy, because right now we're tapping into ourselves and not to our benefit, but to their benefit. That is what chattel slavery was using us to their benefit and to our detriment. Take the chains off and we don't change, then nothing's changed, even though it doesn't look the same. So the sun is still here. We're still getting the energy. We're still doing the things, even in adversity. But I don't want to, and I haven't, and I won't explain the fact that we're still fighting something that we never had to fight in our lifetime. And then from there, you said it the other day on You and Yoshi show, we're going to get what's owed to us in your lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, that's even better than saying in my lifetime shit, because the statistics are that you're supposed to go before me. So I'm all for it. Like, I need more people your age to say that with conviction, because then it happens.
You have just said the key word, Eve. You have to say it. I didn't want to believe that when my auntie used to tell me that when I was little, you know, and my Aunt Daisy used to say, you know, you got to think it, you got to say it. And see, I didn't really know that you can construct, but see, we're all God. We're all God and made in the image of God. And the word was God, and God is the word. So then therefore the creative spirit is to just say it is, and it becomes so. And see, that is the scariest thing. That is the scariest thing, you know, is that you do have this power. You know, I hated once I found out that being poor and being, you know, black, that most of the things that I wanted in life I was going to get. You just have to be careful what you ask for, and it's how you get it.
Say that again for the people in the back classroom, because we're going to talk about it real quick before we end it.
You have to be careful what you ask for, because it can be, you'll get it back, but it may not be entirely the way you thought it would be.
That's as a girl, and I think that women have an easier time here. We grew up, especially if you grew up when I grew up, we grew up on fairy tales. And in the fairy tale, you get the genie in a bottle thing. You get the princess with the bad situation that comes out on top. And then if you look at how women handle conflict and conflict resolution, a lot of it is waiting for Mr. Right, waiting for the shoe to drop, waiting for the magical time, and or the fact that you have to be very specific about what you want. You know, you want the guy, but then do you want the guy to come when you're sleeping and you don't know that he's there? And then it's like kind of this weird rapey situation where he's kissing you and you don't know, but oh, you're awake and now everything's fine. Like, it's weird, but that's a fairy tale people grew up on. And then girls, women that are women now, girls back then, the genie thing, we said cut the check, but we people who know where I'm getting those specific words from that are not going to get any energy over here tonight. We weren't specific. So then they did cut a check multiple times. And it's almost like they were tempting us and baiting us, like, haha, niggas, you said cut the check and we cutting the check. All right. And okay, we did it the first time. Are they going to pick up on it? Nope. We're going to do it again. And then people voted for the orange man because he cut a check. And it's like, wait a minute, pause on the play. No, yes, he did give us money back that was ours already. Come on, you guys, this is money we've paid into the system. We're taxed too much. But now we'll cut the check. Are all black people going to get this check? Because that's not reparations. So we're going to have to start calling things what they are. The delineation era that is upon us, to me, it's all fitting. If Pluto is the planet that we don't consider a planet anymore, furthest away from the sun, was in alignment with the sun, and we are the only group of people on the planet that has been told that we're xenophobic, but we're the most loving, caring, compassionate people on the planet. How are we xenophobic? No, y'all are xenophobic, and we're just existing, we're happy to be here. Yeah. They made a song because we're happy, and then the comedian came out a song, don't disrupt my vibe because I'm happy. They just want us to be the happy-go-lucky nigga in the corner just existing, and a lot of people accepted that, and I can't accept that, because no, they didn't cut the check for the right people. And I'm sorry if you thought that you were going to get a check because you got over here. But then you're going to have to unlearn some things, or we're never going to get it right. We're going to have to come back and do it again. I don't want to make another bargain to come back here like this. And then you saying I might be white next time? Hell no. No, 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 no.
Well, you could choose. You could choose to be.
Fix that.
You could choose to be. You could choose to be that thing. But the point is this: is that I don't know. I don't know because see, I don't know how many incarnations I've had, and I really hated
Had
years
them all,
ago.
haven't you?
What's
If
that?
energy can't be created or destroyed, only changed, then we've had all of them. All of them. That's it. Period.
Right.
I don't,
But I also believe that I also believe that everything's happening at the same time. I believe right now is 2024 BC, 2024, whatever. I believe that every day exists at the same time. That's why I think you can jump in and out of the in and out of this on this plane because see, most of the time they taught us that Earth is they taught us that you got the past, the present, and the future. When in reality, in a sense, to me, time is a circle, and you just jump in and out whenever you want to, and that today is the same day everywhere at every time in history. You see, that's how I see it. I
think that's a good way to see it. I mean, I've always liked art. Y'all know that. I like movies that have Easter eggs because I think that artists can't help it. They see something and then they got to put it out, and to their detriment because sometimes they might end up being the most racist person that you know. Quentin Tarantino having all the movies with the N-word in it is strange, but I think that there's lots of Easter eggs in his movies, and if you can stand it, you can learn a thing or two about these people that we've been forced to participate in life with. But at the end of the day, it's I think it's how we move, and we move pretty wavy. Where you said that everything is 360. I agree. Everything is 360 because the circle is perfect. But you know what else is 360? A square. You know what else is 360? A triangle. Like all these perfectly designed things all are circular or repetitive or something that's going to continue to happen. And well, I think that that's the sun, right? When we get to a time when there is no sun, then maybe the math ain't mathin'. And to me, I have to, this whole year is going to be me taking back the math ain't mathin' because that was me not understanding the power of the energy of me. Like shit, I don't mean that I'm more important than anybody, but
the math wasn't math. It wasn't.
But it was. It all was though, Dr. Winters. I got to take that back and eat it like some shit that I like, some foo-foo. I don't like foo-foo, but I'm gonna have to eat it because when I say the math ain't mathin' and the math isn't mathing, do I leave it there? No, I'm a person who's decided that talking about things is a way that we start changing things. So you can't just say it ain't math, and you got to talk about the solution.
But see, you have faith. You had faith in people. You had faith in organization, and because you had faith in people, then in a sense, it gave you the ability to say, "Aha! If we can just have this person really be for real, then therefore everything else can be real." When in reality, in a sense, the only thing that's real is you.
That's crazy because somebody told me, a little bird once told me, that when you humanize an anonymous figure, that's when you've made them real for people. And I think that when we are people who are listening to the message over the messenger, then we're taking a big part of ourselves out of it. We're not doing that responsibility, accountability thing because, well, it's all anonymous now. Who knows what's going on? And I don't know. And it's not for me to know, but no, it is for you to know because it's yours. And then when you take responsibility and ownership over something, then you're not just going to let somebody trample on it. which is why, however you name yourself as a Native Black American, I'm for it. Even if you name yourself an ADOS, because I think that Yvette is a gay woman who might have some alternative motives, but Marcel, that I campaigned for and helped get a billboard for, and no, he didn't win, but still, money went to him with my assistance. He's a gay man, and I don't give a shit how you lay if you talking about the right things, but then you're going to have to start doing things that make sense. So naming ourselves is very powerful. And then if you're responsible with your power, then go forth and wield your power. Do that. Who am I to say that that's not your role or your purpose? But it's the other people, the people who say that, no, you can't name yourself that because of this, or no, we have to all be this because of this. Those people, they don't really want us to win as much as they've been saying and stealing the energy. If people are zombies, it's because they've been vampired to death and now they just exist because their energy's going somewhere else.
But it's safer. It's safer. I mean, come on now. How many people really want to face up to their blackness? How many people really want to see? Because remember, if you have the ability to affect true change, Eve, then that means in a sense that the European lacks any power over you. And that's scary. Because see, by us feeling that the European has power, it's just like feeling that a devil exists. We have to have a Satan, or we have to have a devil, because by having a Satan or a devil, that allows us to believe in limitations, you see. Because see, but see, if you believe there isn't any limitations, unless others impact or affect you, you see, there are limitations, but these limitations come from the fact that people are able, in a sense, to affect your psyche. They're able to get into your business, and they're able to predict, and they're able to guide you. For example, the only reason that you need to pray to God is because of the fact that other people are saying, I wish Clyde was fucked up. You know, I wish Eve was fucked up. I hate that bitch. You know, she's always coming on the damn, on coming in and doing these shows, and she's always having these videos, and they don't make any sense to me. She's got a lot of good friends. She shows nothing but love to the family, and she really truly is a humanitarian, a teacher. And I don't like that. I don't like that because she wants to live her life the way she presents it. And that's scary. That's scary to people. It's scary to find someone who's living their life, but they're living their life the way they perceive their life to be. Most people want to find a fake. They're looking for a fake. And there's no fun when the person isn't a fake, you see. And see, because when you got a faker, then therefore, in a sense, that can always make you feel like, okay, hey, you know, I don't really have to do this. But see, when you find someone who's not a faker, everybody has their faults. But when you're not a faker, then what that means, in a sense, is that you're scary to people because you have a lot of discipline. You know, you have a lot of discipline. You know, and I'll never forget, my wife said, you know, Clyde, I don't know, you had a lot of discipline when you were younger. I said, I did. But that's because you're younger. That's because when you're younger, you have more hope. You know, for a while, I started feeling that you can't have hope when you get old. You can only have prayer. And I was wrong. I was wrong. No matter how old you get. What's that?
That's very deep, though, because, I mean, hope and prayer are things that you can't touch. So one might be stronger than the other if there's like action involved, you know, like you hope it's not going to happen, but you prepared for the snow that's coming, like that. Or when you pray that the snow's not going to come, did you go out and get your milk and bread and eggs and water and stuff and make sure that you?
But it's still, you're still producing energy. You still need that. And you know, I had for a while. After my wife died. For some reason, I went through a couple of year period where I didn't think that hope was good, and I felt that you shouldn't really have hope. But I think that was mainly because of the factors that I was mourning and I was mad, because my wife had left me. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, this is that I felt in the sense is that it wasn't fair, and then in a sense, it was irrational to feel that way because people die. When people die, that don't mean they wanted to leave you. It was just that time. But I
Right.
didn't want to be rational. I didn't want to be rational. And that's what I think. That's why sometimes you don't want to always have to be real. You don't want to always have to be rational. You don't always want to really understand. You see, you know, that's why that's the beauty in a sense of I think of some people who can live life, but not really in a sense, recognize that you make it the way you make life the way it is. And that's crazy because you don't want to really believe that. Because see, that implies in a sense that as a black person, you have power. And a lot of times we like to, in a sense, number one, feel that the white man in a sense is impeding our progress, which he is. But at the same time, in a sense, when you see some people get a progress, be progressive like Oprah Winfrey, you know, then you say, aha, that's a good example. But then you look at Oprah Winfrey, and eventually she got so powerful that she became white.
Mm. Damn.
Yes.
That.
Yes. I know you think about what I just said. She became white. In
I
the sense that
mean, and she's coming. Isn't she from where you're from?
no, she's from down south and stuff. But she came to Chicago.
But no, she came to Chicago. Now
She
she's
came
from
to
Chicago.
Chicago. She had a real smart producer, and that producer said, we'll do whatever come to your mind, and we'll do it." And that producer, that lady, was smart as hell. But at the same time, eventually, she turned white. She's become white now, Oprah Winfrey.
Well, maybe that's why she was. I I don't know if this is real or not because of all the AI out there, but there's a clip of Oprah talking to Michael Jackson, and she's asking him almost inappropriate questions, but she's a journalist, so let's allow it. But then he's kind of treating her like, bitch, I'm Michael Jackson. Like, you're not about to just ask. So then he just is singing, and she's asking him questions, but he's singing, and he is not answering her question because he's singing. And every time I see that clip circulating, I'm like, is that real? Did that really happen? Because she's asking him about, is she asking him about the his sex life, or Yoshi, you saying that's not AI, that's real? Every time I've seen that clip and he starts singing when she's asking him the questions, I'm like, damn, does she not know that he's a bigger star than she is? Or does she think that her privilege means that he has to answer the question because he came on the Oprah Winfrey show? Or I don't know what the hell is going
But,
on.
but remember, it was our producer who would have wrote the questions for her. That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why she has no real. She's not real. She's not real. That's why she became white. See, when I said she became white, I mean literally she became white. And the reason she became white is that she had nothing in her that could give her that melanated spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She lost her soul. And the reason she lost her soul is because of the fact, in a sense, she didn't really realize that she had a soul.
Sounds like Kamala, but I won't do that to y'all tonight because I know we've talked about so much, and you're going to probably have to hit the playback to, really get a full dose of the reality check tonight. But yeah.
Kamala just old thought that just wore out. She's a wore out woman. She's just an old thought. She wore out and her days are gone, and that's just it,
Well, I mean, it depends on how you take your energy, right? If you're taking protein shots in places that aren't gonna create energy, then maybe you out here an old thought ran through and probably
she's a ran through
graveyard.
She's a ran through woman, and in a sense, she has no personality. She has no real existence because see, remember to be a good thought, you have to just let people just make you whoever they think you are. You don't have any identity. That's one of the reasons why she couldn't really run for president and win. She had no identity.
Well, that kind of sounds like a Bible story of being molded and created from the clay. You know, it's so crazy because I know some of y'all think that I hate the Bible. I love the Bible. I just don't like the fact that y'all don't have enough time to sit there and talk with me about all the different things because, you know, when we start unpacking these things, the clay and soil is dark and its origins, it's fertile. Yeah. Oh, I get that. That's us. Adam, Atom, all of that's us. Fine. Eve, I even get that too. The symbolism, me being a question asker. I bit the apple, y'all. It's not my fault as much as maybe it was my fault. I don't know. I do like snakes too. And there's levels with that. And it's all sorts of things, right? But at the end of the day, when we've got people telling us how to be, and then not only are they telling us how to be, but they've got the strings and ability to withhold and keep us away from the mathing. You know, perfect math exists because I don't know why, but it's out there. It exists. We've got perfect math, squares. From there, if we're listening to people who just learn the math and then we're having to rewrite the equation because it was wrong this time and rewrite the equation because it was wrong this time. Do you know how much of America's probably going to kill themselves when they realize that the moon landing wasn't what they thought it was? White people cried when I told them about Lewis Latimer. That's just the light bulb, y'all. And then going to space, I'm not talking about the hidden figures thing, even though that's a big part of it. But without us, they don't get out of this atmosphere at all. And then Elon Musk is trying to tell everybody that they are the pioneers and engineers of how we're going to get to Mars and do these other. America's glitching in our benefit if we get out the way.
Know, it's really sad that now they claim we didn't really go to the moon and all that type of stuff, but then they claim the stuff on the moon. You know, it's so really confusing. But at the same time, I'm trying to avoid the confusion, and the way I'm trying to avoid the confusion is I said I'm black, they're white. The world is what it is, and hell, I'm here at this time, you know, and that's that.
I mean, again, things could be very simple. I think what you just said is very simple, but then we people get in the way of the simplicity of it all because we're so complex and we just want things to be more complicated than they are because, well, you're not going to understand me unless I explain to elaborate detail my exact experience. And then you still might not even understand me because I don't think you get it. Like, what the hell is that? If a person sat there and listened to your whole hour-long diatribe or monologue about something, and then they said, I get it. And then we can be so big on ourselves to say that they don't get it unless they give it to us back in the way that we understand. You know, we've got a lot of obstacles in our way, but I just think it's just our proximity to confusion and chaos. Take away the confusion and chaos. Not that we're not going to have problems, but the problems are going to get a lot less complicated. I don't know. That's my humble opinion. Kikoba in the chat. I think maybe you and Yoshi, or maybe if you want to teach in one of your Thursday shows about current inventors in our community with breakthroughs for independent home energy systems other than solar panels. But if you wanted my answer, Kikoba, if you're not collecting water while you can and growing things while you can, then you're already losing with regards to the independent home energy systems, because how we fuel ourselves, that's energy. And then, well, how you hydrate yourself, that's energy too. So
But
you might not have the money to do solar, but you can do other things, and you don't have to have a lot of things to do what I just said.
But that's the fertility. That's the ability to survive. You got to remember, in the sense that it was women that gave us our first tools. It's women that gave us the food that we eat. I mean, hell, as a man, I want to go out and shoot some shit, and then bring it back, and then we cook that steak, and
There you go. I'm with it.
But when I always talk about the fact is how we started eating vegetables was hell. The brother took too long to get back with the food, and sister girl said, "Damn, there goes some grass over there. I'm gonna broil that shit. It tastes good. All right."
That is funny. Well, yeah, if y'all are gone on a hunting excursion for a long time, what are we supposed to eat? What?
Supposed to wait, baby. Mama said, "Hell no."
That is
Mama said,
funny.
"Hell no." There goes some grass. There goes some berries.
Right. The animals are eating it and they not dying. We might have to try some of that. They might be doing something. The maths when you take a moment.
I don't know. I love ancient history and all that type of stuff. But the thing is this, though, is that Eve, thank you for another good evening. Thank you for allowing the family and all of us to really think about something new. And family, you got to credit Eve with these ideas about shows, because she's the one who thinks of these things, and then we try to discuss it. It's very difficult, but now we're going into a new year. And this is a very, very, very exciting time. It's scary for a lot of you, because I noticed with that TikTok stuff and all that it was scary for a lot of you. But it's nothing to really fear. It's nothing to really fear. The only thing that has happened is that Black people have decided, I don't give a damn, and that's bad. That's bad for the white man's world now. It's bad for his world, because we don't give a damn. Because see, when we don't give a damn, we'll let them destroy themselves. You see, and we'll look at it and see. But as long as we care, then therefore, in a sense, there's always limits, and we're going to always try to be that nigga in the closet. I'll explain what a nigga in the closet was. Back in the 60s and 70s, many of the large corporations, they had a place in the basement where they kept a Negro. And that Negro, in a sense, in the closet, before they did something that can maybe destroy themselves or their companies, they go ask the nigga in the closet, "Do you think we should do this, nigga in the closet?" And the nigga in the closet say, "No, white man, don't do that, because y'all gonna fuck everything up." Now they don't have any niggas in the closet. Now they got those other people who they feel are brainiacs, because they belong to a different religion. And because of the fact that they're supposed to know how to make money. Yes, those people know how to make money, but they're not human. They have no humanism. Because they have no humanism, and therefore they can't lead you in the same way that nigga in the closet could lead us. So I hope some of the corporations will go and find their niggas in the closet and put that nigga in the closet and go ask them when they're about to do something stupid. But I believe, given the fact that they've reelected Trump, that it's too late.
You just tickled me in a way that I did not think was possible. But put that nigga back in the closet, really, because all the sex stuff that y'all want to talk about needs to probably go back in the closet. And then all the DEI, you see it ends up being a gay person that has melanin, that is the face of diversity, that he might need to go back in the closet, and we come back out, try again. I don't know if they need to talk to R. Kelly about being trapped in a closet, or I don't know what's going on, but yeah, they're not in tune anymore. But maybe it's just the money thing. When money is the source of your energy, then maybe you're out here like a zombie and afraid when TikTok crashes and when things don't go the way that they've been going. But if you're tuned into a more natural frequency, then you don't have these problems as much as there are problems, and you can deal with them as they come. So you blew my mind saying the nigga in the closet, because I just saw the DEI hire for some government agency. He was posting all proud about being the DEI hire for LGBTQ, Mr. Manley. I tweeted about him if y'all wanted to check it out. But and then he just posted today that he'd been fired or let go. And well, if you're out here saying it's 52 genders, I'm sorry, you skipped biology, and we might need to go back. And then you want to have a sociology, how people feel identifiers, then that's different than saying that the math ain't math. And no, the maths. We just gonna have to have some accountability moments, and then just do the hard thing. It's not so hard, but you got to.
Like Ian Blake says, white folks in America have a lot to atone for now that Donald Trump is back. No, they don't have anything to atone for, because see, everything is individualistic. And so you can't say that as a race, every one of them. We have to atone for whatever it is that we have to, our mistakes that we may have made in life, But it's kind of very difficult. See, every day when I say my prayers, I say, please God, help me to forgive those in the sense who I hurt, and help those who I hurt forgive me. Because I don't know who I fucked over in my many incarnations, So I mean, damn, I don't know. So I have to always pray in a sense, because see, God's not going to judge me. I'm going to judge myself, if there's any type of judgment at all. And so then, therefore, I want to forgive you, and I hope that you'll forgive me. I don't know who I fucked up. I don't know. I don't know. You see?
And that's the beauty of it all. I think we said it last time. We're not the authority on things, but as educators, it's a humbling experience to accept the fact that we don't know everything. But if we have it tomorrow, we can try a little bit harder, do something a little bit different, have a deeper, better thought, or maybe ask a different question. And I'm all for it. You've given me a lot of growth over the past year, and I like it. I want some more. Give me some more. I'm gonna tune in tomorrow so I can get some more of that winter knowledge. Winter's here, y'all. And Jon Snow went to the wall, but his name is Tom. He's ready. So
winter has come, but not in that way. But again, in the sense, thank you, Eve, because energy equals life, and it does. You guys have a great evening, and see you out next week, God willing.
Good night.
The only thing that can save you is be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.